Good evening. It's hot out here. It's hot. Maybe I should turn my camera. I had to put my shades on in this Florida sun. So I have to turn my camera. Hello, good evening. I'm gonna have to get me a good evening. Look, I should have had this all set up, but I did not. Good evening. Hello, can you hear me? It's windy out, and I was trying to I had my camera set. Good evening. I'm gonna leave it there. It's windy out, so hopefully the wind doesn't aggravate you all. I know you probably could hear it. It is windy, like windy in this shade area. I was going to sit in the sun, but I can't do that. Not right now, because that sun is doing what it's supposed to do. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Can't see you all. Are there any comments here? Live chats? Yes, Larry, I had to restart it. The wind was just too loud, and I don't even know. I have to figure out how I could go and end a previous live, because the wind was like blowing me away. And seriously, I won't be here before you long this time. I said it every time. I'm gonna stop saying that. I think I'm gonna stop saying that, because when I say that, I stay for an hour, past an hour, easily. Okay. I came out here to create content at my favorite park, but guess what? They were having a festival, and I stopped by and changed my plans. Right? Let me see. I don't want to get the people's house in my background. I don't want to be recording in someone's property, you know? So good evening. See the trees blowing behind me? See how strong that wind is? So you probably hear it here. Eventually I'll get me a mic, a Bluetooth, a microphone eventually, but right now I have to use what I have. How is everyone doing this evening? How are you doing? It's quiet on your end. That's a good thing, right, Larry? Is it quiet as far as the volume for me, or quiet and peaceful for you in your home? Oh, okay. So I just wanted to come, and I mentioned this in one of my prior lives, how, oh, okay. Yeah, you hear that wind? I wish I could cover it up, because it's blowing right here inside of the mic. Maybe I could turn it a different way. And you see my collar blowing? It's very windy. And I don't want to be in the sun, because the sun it's popping. Oh, okay. But listen, I just wanted to come briefly and just remind you all, if possible, learn to spend time with you. Learn to spend time with yourself. It is okay. You know, I know in this world that we live in, a lot of people can't stand to be alone. We can't stand to be by ourselves. You know, we have to always have someone with us. I get it. I grew up with a lot of people, so I know how it is. I have become accustomed to always having, I've become accustomed, always having someone around. And I had to learn to be okay with spending time with me. Spending time with my own thoughts, spending time with, getting to know myself, spending time just learning about myself. Because I never had a chance to just get to know me. I never had that chance to spend time alone. I never been away, from people for a long period of time. If I wasn't with my kids, I was in relationships, I was just always with someone, always tending to other people, always managing and trying to, I guess it's tending to other people. And rightfully so when you have children, right? That's what you have to do. But there comes a time in your life where the kids, they're going to get older. And as moms, sometimes we feel guilty because, we don't want to do things for ourselves. We don't want to spend time for ourselves. We feel like we're forever indebted to our children, right? And that is not the case. No, you can love your children, but you can't forever be indebted to them. You can't forever be indebted to them and what they want and need. Even, when they become adults, you have to, wean them away from depending on you. You don't want your children codependent anyways. I don't want my children codependent on me. I don't want them codependent. I don't mind helping them, but I don't want my children codependent. I don't want them, because eventually one day I'm going to leave here, as well as you are. You're going to leave here one day, right? And we all like to believe that we're going to leave before our children. We have that mindset, right? We just have that belief we're going to leave here before our children. But we all see that that's really not true, right? But it is okay. It is okay to take some time to spend for yourself. I believe that's one of the reasons. Hi, Carol. That's one of the reasons so many women, I believe that's one of the reasons we suffer, for mental health issues, because we don't know how to take that time out for ourselves. We always serving and giving and doing. We just feel like, I know it's in our nature to nurture. That is our nature to nurture. That's how God made us. But we have to learn to also nurture ourselves, nurture and water our own mind, nurture and water our own spirit, nurture and water our own, our own selves, not in a selfish type way, but in a nurturing type way. The same love, the same care you give to, everyone else. There's a festival behind me, at this park that I usually come to. They're having a seafood festival. So you probably would hear that noise. I didn't know that, they had that going on. I didn't know they had that going on at the park, but I did decide to go and browse and see what was going on, right? And that reminded me, just take time out for yourself. I went and browsed the event. Yes, that's a live band, Larry. Yes, and it's quite a few people out here, so I'm over here, Oh no, Carol, we're gonna have to rebuke that, honey. We're gonna have to not feel guilty about that. And I understand, because I used to do it. The live before my last live, I talked about that. I used to feel guilty. I couldn't go in the store without getting my children anything. I couldn't go into the store. I had to come out of the store with something for them. Oh, I stopped that foolishness. God woke me up. He delivered me from that, right? Because I had to deal with my own childhood issues. I had to ask myself, why do I do this? Why do I feel, right? Why do I feel like I have to always get them something when I go into the store? Why I can't never think about think about me for a moment? I used to always be that way. I mean, overly buying, overly, just overdoing it. And we all know, especially these moms, we all know, Carol, the kids in this world today, and the many mothers could attest to this. No matter what you do for these kids nowadays, no matter how you sacrifice sometimes for these children, no matter what you give up, some of these children are still ungrateful. they're still not satisfied. So guess what I learned to do? I learned to do enough. I learned to do what, when my spirit tells me, okay, you're doing enough. I learned to listen to that, right? No matter what you do for these kids, you got some parent bending over backwards for these children, and they still feel entitled. They still feel entitled. They still want you to do more. They don't care if they don't care if you don't wipe out your retirement account. They don't care what you do. Long as they can get, they satisfied. Oh, they satisfied with that. Long as they could get. I would never, when I was coming up, I never put the burden and the pressure on my grandmother, to always get me something, always give, always desire, always say, I want the newest this, the newest that. I never put that burden on my grandmother. I was just thankful that I had a roof over my head, right? But some of these children now, no, they don't care. I saw a video. It was years ago. I was in tears. This single mother raising this young man, and he want all these, I can't even name them clothes. She got two jobs. Trying to make sure he get these $300 shoes and $400 shirts, and he had this entitlement. He was like, oh, she gonna get it for me. Oh, he just had this entitlement. And I just felt so sad. I wanted to cry for her. But she created that, right? Out of her own guilt. And that's what we do as parents. Out of our own guilt, we would do things and create these, these little self-entitled people, right? And then we wonder what happened. What happened is we happened. The parents, we did that, right? So I remember growing up, and I was just thankful just to have a roof over my head. Anything that I wanted, I didn't ask my grandparents to get it. Although my grandfather, I was kind of spoiled from on my dad's side, my dad's parents. They did buy me a car when I was 16, but when they bought me that car, I didn't fix my mouth to ask for anything. Everything I ever got, I worked for it. Right? I didn't want to get on that, but I guess I had to, because somebody needs to hear it. It's okay to have these children to work for what they want. You're responsible as a parent to provide for their needs. They got a roof over their head. They got food. You're taking care of them spiritually and mentally. You're communicating. Yes. And you know what, Carol? That'll mess your children up too. That happened to me as well with one of mine. That would mess your children up. When you have these aunties and these grandparents, they give your children what you tell them not to give, because you're trying to teach them things. You're trying to teach them to be appreciative, but they'll go and do things and give them stuff and don't even ask you, like you're not their mother. They'll overstep their boundaries as grandparents, right? And they mess some of these kids up. Oh, it happened to me too. Oh, I'm not just talking out of the side of my neck, as we would say here, just talking. Yes, some of those parents and aunties, they do it. They enable these children. And you're trying to teach them one way, right? You're trying to teach them to have some good morals, good values, and good work ethic, right? They will go and buy them, and they do this out of malice, because it's really nothing they're not doing it out of the pureness of their heart. They just want to override your boundaries. They want to overstep. Oh, I'm the grandmother. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have grandchildren. This little haughty, prideful, arrogant attitude. Oh yes, I've been through that too. I've been through that. But no, you can't teach these children that, because they grow up with this entitlement, and then these grandparents and aunties enable these children. They enable them, and then they look at you, right? Yeah, they undermine as a parent. They really do. They really do. Yes, they really do. They undermine you, and then what these children will do, you trying to teach them something. Oh, they don't want to come talk to you. And you trying to teach them what's right. They don't want to talk to you. Or they're going to go talk to their grandma or their auntie. And then the aunties, they're enabling them. And guess what? That child never excel. That child can never find a job. That child could never excel, because they got enablers. And you're trying to teach them to stand and be strong and don't let life beat them down. Oh, they enabling them, giving them everything. Everything they want, they're giving it to them. And then they grow up and they 30 and 40 years old, still living with somebody. Can't stand on their own. I've been on my own since I was 18 years old. Been on my own. And I'm not afraid to, sacrifice. I'm not afraid to give up things so that I can have the things that I need. Not that I want. Not that I want, you know? And we try to make it easier for them, these children, and they grow up like you're supposed to do it. No, what I'm supposed to do is make sure you got a roof over your head, your spiritual well-being, you know, protect your mental, protect you as a human, right? That's my job, to protect you mentally and spiritually, you know, when you're a child. And make sure you have all your needs. I don't have to give you, you know, all this expensive items. I don't have to give you this stuff that you want, this extra stuff. If you want all that, guess what? You could work for it. If you want the extra, work for it. You know? Like, no, I'm not gonna create, no. You're gonna work for it. You gotta do something, and good grades is not enough. Good grades don't get you everything you want, right? Good grades don't get you things in life. That's a rude awakening. Just because you got good grades. That's, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. Just like me as a mother, right, and a father, we're supposed to take care of these children. They didn't ask to be here. It's our job to take care of them, give them their needs, take care of their needs. That's our job as parents. We don't get no reward for that. We don't get reward for raising kids to be decent human beings. That's not we don't get a reward for that. Right? We don't get a reward for that. I'm sorry. If you think you get a reward, that's our job. Them kids didn't ask to be here. But as a mother, teach these kids to work for what they want. Teach them to work. If they want the extras, yes, let them work for the extras. It is not our job. And a lot of us parents, we go over and beyond, and you know, we get into all this debt trying to make sure these children have. And any good parent want their children to have a good life and want them to be able to survive when they're not here. You know, any good parent want their children to, you know, excel and soar, right? Past them. Any good parent. Because I know I don't want my kids dependent on me. I can't wait. I'm not pushing them, but I can't wait till they're able, because I'm not going to always be here. No matter how hard things are. I know things are hard with the rent and all that. And I don't want my kids to leave before they're ready. But at the same time, I want them to be able to stand on their own and not having people enable them, right? You know, that enabling spirit. That's a spirit that's running up and down my bloodline too, right? That's a spirit. You know, everybody got to, you know, like somebody always got to care for you. Somebody always got to take care of you. Somebody always got to be there to fend for you. No, we got to break that. That's a generation of curse. You know, I look at some of the people, especially on my maternal side of the family, like the men in that family. The men just, it's like they're not men. They're not strong. You know, they're not, you know, like I was telling one of my siblings, I was like, I can't even go and say, you know, let me go to my uncle, you know, for my uncle could show me and help me. I don't have that. I don't have that, right? I don't have that. I can't go to an uncle. I can't go like on my dad's side. Now I can go, I have cousins, male cousins that I know I can go to and talk to and get advice from, like strong, male, independent cousins, like, you know, some that I respect and look up to. But on my maternal side, I can't go do that. I never had a uncle that I could go to and talk to and ask for advice. Never had that. On my dad's side, I could go talk to my cousin. I have a cousin I could talk to. And I have several cousins. If I pick up the phone and ask and ask for some advice, I can do that on my paternal side. You know, the men, they standing on their own over there. They stand up, they take care of themselves. You know, they could provide for themselves. Like, I don't want to create that. I want to break that cycle, you know? Like, but it's like it's continuing, you know? You got, you know, and people don't see, it's so sad that your family don't see that's, you know, that it's a problem, right? It's a problem. It's a problem when you enable people. You enable the men, you cater, you enabling them, right? No, they got to stand up. That's like a generation of curse. Something is going on. Something is going on. I don't know anybody on that. I don't know. No, out of all my uncles, no, I can't. I can't. Out of all my mom's brothers, I can't think about any one of them where I can go and say, let me go to my uncle to get something, or let me see if he has something. You know, like, no, I can't do that. Never been able to do it, ever. So Yeah, parents, don't enable them kids. Like, don't feel bad and guilty. I used to be like that. But God had to do work in me. I had to be delivered from that rejection spirit, that rejecting spirit. And a lot of times, us parents, we do try to, we overcompensate. We do too much because we don't want our children to feel like we felt. But you got to know when enough is enough. You got to know when enough is enough. And it's okay, right? It's okay. And, sometimes these children, well, you can't be, let me tell you something about these kids. Your children are smarter than you think. And they will see that void in you. They'll see things in you and they'll use it to their advantage. They'll use it to their advantage. Right? Yeah, these kids will use it to their advantage. Yeah, see, mommy always say yes. Every time I ask mommy or daddy, they always say yes. No, start telling them no. I know my no button. I got my no strong now. Because I was a young mom. I was a mom. Keep calling me. At 19, I was a mom. I became a mom. Had my son at 20, so I was a young mom. And it's another thing. Stop feeling guilty, parents. Like you got to drop this guilt, right? You got to stop making yourself feel guilty from things that you didn't know and things that you didn't do. The best thing you can do is talk to your children, try to get them to understand, where you was coming from, your mindset at that time. And we got to remember now and this is why I try to, one thing I would not tolerate from my children, I would not tolerate disrespect. I would not tolerate disrespect. I would not tolerate them trying to manipulate me. And I would not tolerate anything that is deceitful. I won't tolerate that from them, right? Especially when they become adults, I wouldn't tolerate that from them. Now, when they're younger, it's my job to explain and try to, communicate with them. But what I was going to say, but parents got to stop feeling guilty. If you sit down and you communicate with your child, you let them know, when you were younger, you made mistakes. And if they don't understand that and they don't want to forgive you for that, that's on them. You can't be holding yourself hostage because of the mistakes you made in your past, the mistakes you made when you were a child yourself. You were trying to figure things out. That's why I tell these parents, don't get mad at your child. You got to let them go through life because you had to go through life. You had to go through life, right? You have to let them experience life. And you got some parents, some people try to make you feel bad because of the decisions you made with your child. I mentioned that before. Don't let them make you feel bad. You there with that child. You know that child more than any of them. I don't care what that child trying to do and pretend. You know that child. You know your child better than any of them are. You know how manipulative they can be. You know how deceitful they can be. You know all the ins and outs of them children, right? So don't let nobody make you feel guilty. And parents, you got to remember when you were that age as well, this is how I could be at peace, right? This is how I could be at peace and not worry about my children. I got a son now. He want to do what he want to do. So guess what? I let him do what he want to do. I love him, but I'm not going to let him drive me in the early grave. I wish the best for him, right? But what sometimes we do, we got to remember we were their age at one time. We were their age at one time. We thought we know it all. We thought we could, manipulate and connive and lie and get our way. And we found out real quick it didn't work. So that's what you have to do. You have to let them kids go and live life. You got to let them experience life. As long as you know you did what you can do as a parent, you did the right thing, right? Don't feel guilty. I know I'm not going to feel guilty. I started to. I'm not going to share it now because I went through something with my son, when he was 19 years old. And I'm not released to share the story now, but I went through something. But it's going to come a time. I got to release that story. I don't care who don't like it. I'm going to release it. I don't care, right? I don't care because it's part of my testimony and it's going to deliver some people, right? But I started to feel guilty by what he went through. I started to feel guilty as a mom, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? And, I'm trying to see what did I do wrong, which I know some of the stuff he was dealing with was spiritual, and I know he had other people in his corner coercing him and helping him along. But I can't talk about that right now. Oh, it's going to be a whole live on that. It's going to be a whole live on that. When I'm released to share it, I'm going to share it because that's part of my story. That's part of how I didn't lose my mind. Okay, that's part of how I didn't lose my mind. Somebody gonna need, somebody need to be helped and see how they can get through stuff, because you got parents out there feeling guilty by how their children turned out, and then their children try to use and manipulate them and try to make it seem like that the parent is rejecting them or don't want them to be who they are. Oh no, we're not gonna do that over here. But what we're not gonna do is be disrespectful. That's what we're not going to do. And you want to say that it's because another we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. And that's another thing. You got to let people believe what they want to believe. Sometimes in these families, we have these families that, like I said in my previous video, they want to perpetuate the curses. You're trying to break curses. You're trying to get your child to understand what they're dealing with is a curse, and this is how you have to break that, right? This is how you have to break it, because you can see it. When you can see it, you got to tell them, this is how you break this. You got to break it. You got to do the work. But they don't want to do the work. But guess what? It is okay. It is okay. When I tell you, when I had my awakening in 2020, when I tell you God woke me up, I had this awakening, and I said, I'm not going to let nobody, I don't care if it's my child, I don't care if it's my siblings, I don't care who it is, I'm not going to let nobody cause me to lose my mind. Nobody, right? Nobody, because we know these children can get to a point to where, they feel like they're not obligated to listen. They're not obligated to respect. They're not obligated, and that's okay. They get to that point, right? But I refuse to. I said I refuse to, because I know I'm a good person. I'm a good mother. I'm going to stand up for truth. And I know that's what the devil don't like. The devil don't like when you stand up for truth, when you walk in the truth, because they feel like, oh, you're judging. No, that's not judging. No, that's standing in truth. I'm going to speak up for the truth. And if me walking in truth irritates you, you don't have to be around. You don't have to come around. I'm in the season now where I'm not going to be fake and phony to get along. I'm not going to shut up if I see something that's wrong. I'm not going to be quiet. That's what we're not going to do over here. I'm not going to just go around just judging and picking on you. But when I'm spirit led, I'm going to say something about it. I'm going to say something. That's why I don't go around people, certain people now. I can't keep going around people and they be acting a certain way and doing craziness. I refuse to go around that. I refuse to be around it, and my spirit's not settled. It's a difference between having a good time and enjoying yourself, right? It's a difference between having a good time, like at parks. I go to festivals. I'm not one of those ones that's so religious that you can't go anywhere. That's not me. I know, because I have to have self-control over myself. I go to events. Like I got family having events, coming up in the summer. I'll be attending some of those events. But I don't just try to stay in a bubble and think I'm just so religious and perfect. No. But when I see somebody, when I see somebody out of order, I'm going to say something. But I had to be delivered from rejection and guilt, because people could sense that on you. When they sense you're not, excuse me, when they sense you're a people pleaser and you want to make sure everybody's okay around you, you trying to make sure the energy, you're trying to control the energy of the room, right? You're trying to control the energy of the room, and people pick up on that, or they'll use that to their advantage. I'm not doing that no more. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Either you're going to like me for who I am, or you don't have to be around me. And it's okay. I've come to terms. If I got to be alone, I have come to terms with that. After what happened to me in 2020, that showed me I can't trust nobody. I can't put my all in nobody, not even my children. I can't put my hope and all in nobody. I got to put my hope and all in God. He's my everything. I got to trust him. I got to trust him, because after seeing all them different faces and, seeing everything, no, I'm not going to put all my hope and trust in my kids. Absolutely not. I'm not doing it. After what happened in 2020, I refuse. I love them, and I want the best, and I'm going to be that mother. I'm going to be that good mother I know how to be, but I'm not going to put my hope and trust in them, because, people will fail you. You thinking that you're doing the right thing. You're thinking that you're doing and being the best mom you know how to be. And behind the scenes, the devil just all up in them kids. Oh, no. He plotting and planning, right? So if something happened, right, Exactly. God is their answer. He's mine too. I'm not their answer. Exactly. I am not their answer. Exactly. So I've learned my lesson. I took my hope out of everything. I took my hope out of this system, this world system. I took everything. Nobody, no husband, no children, no family members, nobody. If I need help, I know how to go ask. Now, I'm not one of those people who need help. I'm glad I'm humble enough to, if I need help, I know how to go ask for help, right? Help me. If I ever come to somebody and ask for help, that means I really need it. That means I really need it. Excuse me. I really need it. If I come and ask, right? I might hear some little ants, but yeah, I'm not gonna put my hope in my heart. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. God showed me, he woke me up. You can't put your faith in hope. You know, you gotta set measurements for yourself. You got to make sure you able to take care of yourself. It's good now if them kids want to be there and voluntarily take care of you or help you, but it's not their obligation. It's not their obligation. I told my kids they don't owe me anything. They don't owe me anything. My job is to take care of them. Excuse me. My job is to take care of them. Yes, my job is to take care of them. And, you know, if they decide if I get old, because I don't plan on getting old. Getting old is for other people, not me. But my job is to take care of them, and they don't have to pay me. I'm not one of those parents. You know, you got these parents, and these are these narcissistic parents. They groom their children to feel indebted to them forever because they birthed them. No, that's not how they're supposed to go. No, you honor and respect your mother, but they're not indebted to. I don't want them to feel like they're indebted to me because I don't want them to feel like I'm indebted to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. So we're gonna be mutually respected, right? We're gonna be mutually respected. This is my belief, and that's another thing. People don't want you to have your beliefs. People don't want you to have your systems, how you feel, how you see things, how you're comfortable with different things. People don't want you to have your own set of beliefs. They want you to believe how they believe and think how they think. No. No, this is what I do. When I started spending time with myself, this is some of the things that I started thinking about. I started asking myself, why do I do this? Why do I always feel like I got to go in the store and instead of buying me a nice shirt, I come out there with my kids something, right? Instead of me going to the grocery store or instead of me going to get me some food, you know, a healthy wrap or something, I'm obligated. I feel like I have to go by McDonald's or Wendy's to get them something. Oh, I stopped that. I stopped that. I had to heal from that and be okay and not feel guilty. I had to heal from that. No, that's what I start. When I start spending time with myself, I start asking myself questions. Okay, why do I let this person come around me and I don't feel good when they're around me? Or why do I feel like I got to go to, you know, family functions and I know certain people feel a certain way about me, right? I start asking myself, why do I do this? Why? And then I start getting my answer. You need to heal, right? That's what the answer was. You need to heal. You got a spirit of rejection on you. You feel rejected. You feel obligated. I'm not obligated. I'm not obligated. No, I'm not obligated. I'm not obligated to do anything that don't feel good to me. Only what the Lord instructs me to do. Because you know the God will tell you to do stuff that don't feel good. Because he's trying to do a work in you. But I'm not obligated to, you know, be there for people. I'm not obligated to be the events. I'm not obligated to go to family reunion. I'm not obligated to do that. I am not obligated. And I would not go. If my spirit say go, I go. If my spirit say no, don't go, I would not go. And I don't give no explanation. The answer is no. And no is a complete sentence. We got to learn how to say that. We got to stand bold and firm and stop giving people explanations. We feel like we got to, oh, I can't come because such and such and such. No, I can't come because of no. That's why I can't come. No is the reason I can't come. No is a complete sentence. I had to grow up out of that. I had to grow up and stop feeling obligated, you know, feeling sad because people don't invite me places, feeling down, feeling like I'm the problem, you know, because people don't include me, which I know why they didn't include me. We got to stop being foolish, right? We got to stop being foolish. People won't include you because they don't like you. People don't want to include you because they got a problem with you. People don't want to include you because there's a light on you, and we got to accept that. I couldn't accept that for the life of me, but I understand why God kept me isolated. He kept me isolated in a way for a reason. I understand that more now than ever, and I finally came to terms with it. I accepted it and I embraced it. I finally came to terms, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being isolated. I'm okay with being over here, the little lost sheep. I'm okay with that now. Before, it used to irk me. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay now. I'll go where I want to go, where I feel comfortable. That's where I go. I go where I feel comfortable, where I feel like the people want to, really accept me there. I want to go where I feel included and not tolerated. That's where I go at, where I feel included, where I feel like I'm part of the family, right? I go to those places. I don't go just, if you, and we got to stop this foolishness. If you go somewhere and you feel like getting ready to go is an exercise, getting ready to go is draining, getting ready to go is a mental, you got to go through all these mental gymnastics. If they say this, I'm going to say this. Or if this person here, I don't want to be, she better not say. If you got to do all that before you go to an event, that means you shouldn't go. That means you shouldn't go. If you got to do all of that, right? If you got to do all of that before you go somewhere, that means you shouldn't be going. I don't care who's having it. I don't care who it is. I don't care what type of holiday, because that's another thing. We feel like because it's the holiday, you don't like me 245 days out of the year. You don't like me. You don't deal with me. But now it's Thanksgiving. Now it's Christmas, and family's supposed to get together. Now you want to include me. You don't call. You don't check on me. You don't know if I'm still alive. But now it's all family. No. Y'all have to stop that foolishness. That's foolishness. Foolishness. Pretending. We got to stop that. Right? We got to stop that. That's foolishness. I never thought of so much foolishness until I started spending time with myself. When I started spending time with myself, I'm like, you know what? This is foolishness. This is foolishness. Yes, Vanessa, I didn't plan on, I'm kind of working what I'm talking about in the live, but I didn't plan on talking about that. It just came. It is straight up foolishness. We do this every year and be pretentious and get around each other, be fake. Hey, I love you. How you doing, girl? You look good. Child, and then you hugging like you don't even like me. You don't even like me, right? Just because somebody, sick or somebody don't die, you don't even like me. That's another thing we do. We get to these funerals, and now it's all about family now. Oh, it's family. We got to do better. We got to get together. No, we ain't got to do nothing. I know I'm not going to do it. I don't care how you feel. I'm not going to do it. Especially with certain ones. You got to stop feeling obligated. Now I got my family. I would be there. I don't care what they have, and I'm going to be there because I feel like I'm part of the family. But it's certain ones, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going around. I don't care what happened. Because it's all, it's different because we all got some dysfunctional families, right? You got dysfunctional families, then you got the ones that are crazy, right? You got the ones that just going to say whatever and do whatever. And you got to respect that. You can't help what type of family you were born into. But then you got the ones that are dysfunctional. They do this fake stuff like knowing they don't like you, but then have a nerve to invite you somewhere, right? Or knowing they don't like you, they invite you to some events they won't invite you. And it's all this back and forth and these just manipulation and deception. I don't have time for that. Don't have time for that. That's foolishness. That's what it is. It's foolishness. And that's why people suffering mental health issues. That's where it come from. Yes, just for show. Just to say, oh, she was there. See, I don't have no problem with that. I invited her. No, but your spirit is saying something else. We got to stop this foolishness. I don't have time. When I tell you I don't have time no more, I don't have time for that. I mean, it's like wasted time. It's wasted time, wasted energy, right? You spend so much time trying to focus on, worried about, if they're going to include me. Do they love me? Do they like me? Why they treat me like this? You don't have time for that no more. It's time to grow up out of that foolishness. Let them do what they gonna do. Because people gonna do what they gonna do. People living their own lives. They got their own stuff going on. Let them live it and you live your life. Live your life. Do things you want to do. Right? Do things you want to do. You don't have to be doing things because everybody else doing. You don't have to feel obligated to go. Do things because you want to do it. And people don't like when you think like that. They don't like that because you got your own thinking. You think how you want to think. Right? You don't feel obligated. Oh, let me go on because, and this is what people say. Now, they tell me if this not foolishness or what. Let me go on. Go ahead and go over there because if I don't go, they going to say that who cares what they going to say? One thing, let me tell you something about me, right? One thing about me, and I learned this at an early age. And I learned this by observing people. And I don't care who it is. I don't care. Some ants on my bottom. I don't care who it is. If you want me somewhere, right? If you want me somewhere, if you want me to see you, if you want me to participate, if you want me to be a part of your event, I'm here. I'm living. I'm related. I'm a friend or whatever the example may be, co-worker, whatever. If you are having something and you want me to come and you're the host, that means you should call me. Call me. Don't third party nobody and tell them to tell such and such to come to my event. No, you tell me how you told everybody else. Or if you want me to come, send me an invite. Send me a text message. Hey, sister. Hey, auntie. Hey, cousin. Hey, co-worker. Mom, dad, I'm having this. I would like for you to come. And if I have time, guess what? I'll be there. But if I don't have time, I'm going to just say, I won't be able to make it this time, but thank you for the invite. Hopefully next time I can make it. Right? Don't feel obligated. If people don't invite you, don't worry about it. We got to stop this foolishness. Stop feeling that's why I say you got to heal from rejection. You got to heal. When I spend time myself, I start thinking about all this stuff. I be in my head, thinking, and people will try to make you feel bad because you're thinking about what is, you're thinking about the situation and how things are going down. And then they'll make you seem like you're the person that's wrong. Right? Don't feel bad about that. Yes, don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad. They'll make you feel like she always got to be like that. Oh, she always, she always stuck up. She thinks she bougie. She thinks she don't think she nothing. What she thinks she is smart. That's what she thinks she is. She thinks she's smart because she don't want to deal with y'all nonsense. That's what she is. She don't want to deal with that foolishness. Being fake and phony. She don't have time for that. Feeling all that negative energy. Nobody don't have time for that. Nobody don't have time. You walking and you feel that tension just brewing off of them. You don't have time for that. You walking trying to go to the bathroom, and as soon as you turn your back, who got time for that? As soon as you turn your back, they looking like, and all this here. Who got time for that foolishness? That's what I'm saying. Who got time for this? Nobody. Nobody don't have time for that. That takes up your time and energy. If I haven't in this time, starting to protect my energy, I protect my energy and my space more than ever now. For some reason, it's like I'm building a border around me. I'm protecting my energy more than ever now. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for the foolishness, right? I don't have time. I'm trying to make sure my spirit is right. Trying to make sure my soul is right. Make sure I'm at peace within myself. I don't have time. Yes, me talking behind your back. Now they got a problem with everybody else. They got a problem with you. They'll tell everybody else but you. Sitting there getting mad over petty stuff. Like small stuff you did or small stuff you said. If it bothers you, say something. Don't sit there and hold a grudge for 50 years. No, I don't have time. That's foolishness. I don't have time. I don't have time for that no more. I'm too old. I'm past 40. And I don't have time to be still in that little teenage mindset going back and forth. No, it's time to have conversations. Let's sit down and talk about it. You got a problem with me, you tell me your problem. And if it's something I did to offend you, I will apologize. If it's something I said, I would apologize. But I'm not going to apologize for being me. I'm not going to apologize for thinking how I think. I'm not going to apologize just for being present. Right? I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for growth. I'm not going to apologize for change. I'm not going to apologize because I want to live right. That's not what I'm going to do. And if that offends you, let it offend you. You can just go on over there. I love you from over there. I love you from over there because I love myself over here. And if loving myself causes you to feel, out of place, causes you to feel, like you don't love yourself because I'm loving me, you deal with that. I'm dealing with me. You deal with that. We got to learn to we got to unlearn this stuff. And I used to, coming up, I used to wonder why certain family members didn't come around. Like, I wonder why I didn't see certain family members at events and stuff. Some of them don't want to come because out of shame, right? They feel like people rejecting them because of their lifestyle, because they live a certain way. So they already got their rejection on them. So they won't come around because they feel rejected within themselves and they thinking everybody else judging and rejecting them. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing we got to stop doing with these family members that want to live a certain way, right? They want to live a certain way, whatever that way is, whether it's drugging, thugging, whatever they want to do. You ever notice they already feel like somebody rejecting and judging them? You ain't say nothing about them. You haven't said nothing about them. You let them live their life, but because you living right and your righteous living convicts them on its own. You don't have to say nothing. You don't have to say anything to them. That's what I told somebody. I told somebody this. I said, you're not going to make me feel bad. Yes, you're not going to make me feel bad because I have standards and morals, right? You're not going to make me feel bad for that. If how I'm living convicts you, you have to deal with that. You have to deal with yourself. Just like the one person told me I got to deal with myself. Oh, I'm dealing with myself. Now you got to deal with you. You got to deal with you. And I love you. And I love you still. I still love you and I still pray for you. But you're not going to make me stop being me because you got that rejected spirit on you. You got to deal with yourself. I'm trying to teach you how to deal with it. But you don't want to listen to how I'm telling you because you want to live your way. So you live your way and it's okay. Yeah, live your way. And it's okay. You go ahead and live your way. And it's okay. And I love you from over there. But people want to make you feel like you don't love them because you living right. And by you living right, it's convicting their spirit. They don't want to come around you. You never said it. You don't judge them because they're going to have to reap the consequences of them living that lifestyle. When I was out there clubbing and fornicating and what else I was doing? Sleeping around and all that. When I was fornicating, when I wasn't living right, guess what? I suffered them consequences. My grandmother didn't suffer them consequences. That was on me. Until I got some knowledge, until I got some skin on my head, right? Until I started doing what's right, that was on me. When I was out there partying, yes, they hate to deal with their own truth, want to put it off on somebody else. You're not going to put it off on me. And that's what I told, the person. I'm like, you ain't going to put that on me. You going to take responsibility. And that's another thing. That's another thing. You got people, they never want to take blame for their own mess. I used to be like that, right? Responsibility, but that's why this channel is responsibility, Vanessa, because guess what? I had to take accountability for my own stuff. When I got older, I couldn't be blamed. I had to stop blaming my mom because she was a drug addict, because she didn't raise me. I had to stop blaming my mom. I had to stop blaming my dad. I had to look at me. I had to look at why Monique, why are you 23 and you still feel like your mom is responsible for your life now? The Lord showed me. He said, that's on you. He said, you got the knowledge now. That's on you. That's what I told my children. And I'm going to say this on this day. I told my children, y'all don't have no excuse. If y'all want to live a life that is not going to, benefit you and you're not going to succeed, if you want to live a life where you won't succeed, you're not going to put that on me. You're not going to blame me for that. Guess what? You can't say you didn't have a mama. You can't say you didn't have a daddy. You were raised in the house with both parents. No, we were not perfect. But you're not going to say that. You're not going to say I didn't give you love, nurturing, and care. But what you can say is, my mama spoke the truth. She told us the truth even when we didn't like it. Even when, we got mad at her and didn't want to talk to her anymore, she told us the truth, what's right. What I would not do is, I would not leave this earth knowing I didn't tell my children the truth. Knowing I didn't try to get, knowing I didn't guide them, guide them the right way. I would not leave this earth knowing that I didn't do my part. I told my kids, y'all ain't got no excuse. Y'all didn't grow up how I grew up. Y'all didn't grow up in the hood. What else excuse we make? You didn't grow up in the hood. I tried to raise you up in church. Wasn't perfect because I didn't have this spiritual knowledge. But I told you what you were dealing with in your family. I told you the curses you're dealing with in your family. You're not going to blame me for your stuff. You gonna eat that. You gonna eat that. And I'm not going to accept disrespect. You're not going to disrespect me and make me feel like I'm responsible because I don't accept certain things. You're not going to make me feel disrespectful. You're not going to disrespect me. That's what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is trying to blame mommy. You won't be able to blame me. I don't care what nobody say. My kids won't be able to blame me. Even if they blame me, let me tell you, I'm going to cut all of that out. Let me tell you, this is what y'all have to do. This is what y'all have to do as mothers, as fathers, as parents, right? Let me tell you what you got to do. This is going to stop all of the blame game. You sit down with your child and you listen to your child with a pure and open heart. You sit down with them, right? If they got a problem with you, you sit down. Let them talk. Let them tell you how you hurt them. Let them tell you where you lacked as a mother, what you didn't give them. Let them tell you that. You let them tell you, right? And when they tell you, guess what you do? You apologize. You say, you know what, son? Daughter, if you didn't know, just say, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I made you feel. I didn't know that me talking this way made you feel a certain way. I didn't know because, I didn't, support you. And then whatever they tell you, apologize and ask for forgiveness. And that'll cut all that out. They won't have no more excuses. You're not gonna blame me. That's what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna blame me. You're not gonna blame me. And I tell my kids that. I told my son, you're not gonna blame me. I don't care what you do. You can live how you want to live, but what you will not do is you won't put the guilt on me. You're gonna keep that guilt. You're gonna deal with yourself. You got to go to God for yourself. You of age now. You of age. You're responsible. You're responsible. Yes, you're responsible. You're responsible to take the baton. I watched my mama and my daddy smoke crack. I should have been taking drugs. I should have been smoking crack. I should have been shooting up alcohol. I should have been doing all that. But I didn't do it. So I'm not giving my kids an excuse. I grew up too hard. I walked through the streets, crack houses. I walked through crack houses. Walked on the streets. You see needles on the ground. You see crack cans. I'm looking at crack pipes as a little girl. But you think you're going to blame me? And I took you out the hood. I didn't raise you in the ghettos. You not going to blame me. One thing you not going to do is blame your mama. That's what you not going to do. That's what you not going to do. You better look at them other people who enable you, but you ain't going to look at me. That's what we're not going to do. I told my kid we're not going to do that. That's what we're not going to do. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down. No, you're not going to make me feel guilty. I don't care what nobody say. You can run to anybody, right? You can run and see people. One thing about this world now, we think that as a world that your parents can give you everything that you are lacking. Your parents is not God. Your parents can't give you everything, especially if you got parents that's working, trying to provide for you. As a child, you shouldn't have a selfish mindset where your mom and your dad got to be your everything. It's impossible for them to be your everything. What you probably need to do is you got to learn to be thankful. You got to learn to look at what they're doing. You got to learn to look at what they're trying to do for you. The life they're trying to provide, or the life they provided if your mom and dad got a divorce. You got to look at the good. Don't always look at the bad. I wish I had the upbringing that my kids had. I wish I had the upbringing. I wish I had my mom and daddy there. I wish I had that. But I thank God that I didn't, because I wouldn't be who I am today, right? I wanted it, but my life didn't play. I had to, what they say, I had to play the cards I was dealt. I had to play the cards that I was dealt. And them, the cards that I was dealt. And I had to play that. I didn't have a good hand, but guess what? I used what I was able to use and played that. You're not going to, my kids, they're not going to play me. I don't care. You're going to take responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility. I didn't have nobody helping me. I didn't have nobody helping me get through college. I didn't have nobody paying for stuff for me all the way up until adulthood. I didn't have this. I had to work for everything that I have. Everything that I got, I worked for it. Job after job, working jobs that I didn't want to work. And you gonna let your child blame you because how their life turned out? Be like, no, you gonna keep that life. You gonna keep that responsibility. That's on you, buddy. That's on you. I didn't abuse you. I didn't misuse you. That's on you. You gonna eat that. Oh, wow. That's another thing. Oh, wow, you trying to deal with your trauma. Children, sometimes they can be so selfish. They don't understand you got your own trauma that you were dealing with. Yes, I'm working 2 jobs now. Like you got your own stuff you dealing with. While trying, and see, they could be so. One thing I loved about me, and I appreciate that more because I get that from my grandmother. I get it from her because she was selfless. My grandmother, Rena Mae McCrae, she was selfless. That lady was disabled. My grandmother didn't work. She was disabled. But guess what? She would cook her own food. And people from off the streets would come there, and I would have to fix them food. Right? I would have to give them food because they want something to eat. My grandmother had food, extra food for people in the community. My cousin's friends. I thank God I was brought up under that lady. I thank God I learned so many invaluable lessons that taught me to be appreciative of what I have. That's why I can be appreciative with the little. With the little, I can be appreciative. You know how people get bent out of shape because they don't have, stupid stuff. They get bent out of shape like their world is ending. I know how to live on the bare minimum and be happy and content because of how I was brought up. And we got to remind these children sometimes. We have to remind them, right? We have to remind them that life is not going to go as you planned all the time. Yes, life is not going to go as you planned, and you can't let life beat you down because you lost your job. Find another one. Don't let life beat you down. I'm so glad I had that upbringing, walking through the streets, the drug streets and all that. I'm glad I had that upbringing because it taught me to be resilient. It didn't kill me. What they say, what don't kill you, make you stronger. Walking uptown and, I just appreciate that because that makes me appreciate everything. That makes me appreciate everything that I've been through. That make me appreciate everything. Because sometimes people could be so selfish. I'm tearing up and I'm crying because didn't want to go here because me telling this story just brought back so many memories, make me appreciate, how far I've come. Make me appreciate the little things that people take for granted. People take a lot of stuff for granted, like growing up, being appreciative. I grew up, and most of you probably could attest to it. I grew up and what they considered was poor, I didn't even know we were poor. That's how appreciative I was. I was appreciative of just little things. Like, I mean, just the little, like, and it bothers me a lot when I see people, how ungrateful they can be. Especially when somebody doing something for them, doing little things. I appreciate everything. Yes, we were rich. We was rich. We were like, we never went hungry. I didn't know I was what they consider poor until I got to school. Till I got like in the 3rd or 4th grade. I didn't know, and people are so ungrateful. They don't know how to be grateful for what people do. People go out their way to do things for them. They don't know how to be grateful. They always want more, right? They always want more. Yes, we will. I just thank God. I just thank God for my upbringing. I thank God for my grandmother. I thank God for just watching her not having nothing too much herself, but still giving out of what she had. And if nothing don't bother me in this world, a person can curse me out, they can cheat, they can lie, they can steal, and this is how this bothers me. They could do all of that. I could forgive them, right? What bothers me the most is an ungrateful person. That bothers me above anything. Being ungrateful, not appreciative. That bothers me above lying, cheating, stealing. That's how bad it bothers me. Just being ungrateful. And that's another reason why I stopped doing things unless I'm spirit-led. Because I didn't want my giving to become like an idol, right? I didn't want my giving to become like something I did like out of my brokenness because something I didn't have or something people didn't do for me, right? I had to stop that. I had to start being led. I don't give until I'm led. I don't do until I'm led. Unless I see somebody that needs help, then I would do it. I'll do it, but I don't do it no more. Until I'm led. God, you're going to have to show me who to help. Because if he show me who to help, those people are going to be appreciative. They're going to appreciate what you do. Right? They're going to appreciate. I remember growing up in high school, like my friends' moms, and I appreciate this too. I'm so grateful. I've been out of high school 20 years. See you later, Larry. Thank you for joining me. I've been out of high school 20 years. And to this day, I still appreciate some of my friends' moms who helped me in high school, who helped me with like the senior stuff, because I couldn't, afford some of the stuff. They helped me with that. And to this day, I never forgot about it. I still appreciate it. I still talk to the lady, my friend's mom. I still go by and see her. And every time God put it on my heart, I'll go visit her or take her some flowers or, give her something just to let her know. I never forget that. I never forget that. Never forget it. That's how appreciative I am. I would never forget it. Never forget what they've done. I just appreciate it because she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to help me get my hair done. Growing up in, the black community, when senior prom and junior prom, that's like a popular thing. That's like a big deal. Although I wasn't all that worried and, stressing out about it, she helped me. And I appreciated that. And I never forgot. It just be the little things people do. She didn't have to do that. She had her own daughter. She didn't have to be nice to me and do that for me. And to this day, I never forgot about it. I always, honor her and I always respect her. Anywhere I see her, I give her a hug or I'd be happy to see her. Because I never forget that. Ever. But I just wanted to come talk to you all. I didn't want to cry, but it just came out. You can't control your emotions. But, You have to spend that time with yourself, because you don't want to be living in a world where you're stressed out, where you're taking antidepressants because you feel obligated to be there for everybody else but yourself. You feel obligated to be doing this and that and running around. And yes, Michelle, really appreciate those people. And don't talk about you to others. Yes. But yeah, you have to spend that time with yourself so you can see why you do certain things, right? But yeah, so you want to be taking antidepressants and you stressed out, you got high blood pressure, you got all them ailments because you're worried about everyone else. You taking on the load. You put the load of the family on your shoulders. You carrying the family while everybody else chilling. You got the load and the burden on your shoulders. You carrying everybody else. You trying to be the savior for everybody else. No, you gotta let God do that. Let God do that. Let God do that. That's God's job. It's no longer your job to be carrying everybody. You trying to put everybody on your shoulders. And when you carry everybody, it weighs you down. You down in your spirit. You down in your joy. You can't find happiness. That's why you get mad at people. You mad at people because you carrying them and they living their life. Stop carrying them and watch what happens. They'll find a way. They'll find a way. They will find a way. Let Jesus carry them. Tell them, you know what, I'm giving you to Jesus. A lot of y'all playing God in people's life too. Every time they need money, you give them money. Every time they need food, you're giving them food. Yes, you're supposed to be there to help, but are you becoming their God? Are you their crutch? You can become people's crutch. You can become people's crutch. You can become people's God. And I know it to be true because when my grandmother was here, I knew I had somebody to lean on. When my grandmother was here, I knew if I got into a hard place, I could call my grandmother. I said, you know, Grandma, I could get $300 or $400. She was going to give it to me. No questions asked. I don't know where she get the money from. She'll give it. She was going to give it. But when the Lord took my grandmother's, I didn't have nobody else. I couldn't call nobody else. I think I got one person I think I could call if I needed money like that. I got one person I could call. One cousin. I know for sure if he has it, he'll give it to me. Well, no, maybe if I ask, yeah, maybe that whole side, that whole side, they'll probably give it to me. Now that I think of it, yes, yeah, that whole side, yeah, that whole side. I won't say one cousin. I think if I call any of my male cousins on my dad's side, if I was going through, if they have it, I know I can get it. But I can't call nobody else. I can't call nobody else. But when my grandmothers left this world, I knew I didn't have nobody else. It was me and Lord. Me and the Lord I had to depend on. Can't call nobody else. That I know who's not going to talk about me. Oh, she needs some money now. I wonder what's going on with her. Now she had, all that. I don't need all that. If I call you, that means I need it. That means I'm in a tight and I really need it. I don't need you to talk about me. I don't need you to, if you got it, say yes. If you don't got it, just say no. Yes, I know, yeah. There's a few cousins I know I could call. But my grandmother was my lifeline. And when God took her away, I knew I couldn't find I couldn't call nobody else. Stop. You can't be carrying the burden. You can't be carrying the burden. If you stop carrying that burden, you can get off the meds. Right? If you stop carrying that burden, you can get off the meds. You don't need them meds. You need them because you carrying everybody else's burden. Tell them to keep their own burdens. You're not the burden carrier. Tell them to get in their word like you get in your word. Tell them to pray and fast like you praying and fast. Tell them to repent like you repented. See, people don't want to do the work. We don't want to do that. We want to live our life and think medication's going to help us offset, balance us out. No, that medication not going to help you. It's going to make you worse off. It's going to create other ailments. When you can repent and have God to walk you through it, you can get off that. You can get off. You can get off. I'm not one of the ones that say, oh, you need God and meds. You don't need no God and meds. You only need God. That's my belief. That's my opinion. I'm going to stand on that. That's my belief. You ain't going to tell me how I should believe. And it's okay. We can agree to disagree. But if you cut back and repent, come out of sin, you work on your walk, your salvation walk, you won't need meds. You won't need meds. You won't need that high blood pressure if you cut that pork out. Yep. You won't need no You won't need no you cut that pork and you start eating right, you can get off them high blood pressure medication too, right? I saw this one lady. I was working in the hospital, and she was out in the lobby, right? And she, Lord forgive me, and this is the crazy stuff we do. This is what the meds do, right? And I know everybody's not able, but she had a big box of fried chicken, Popeye's chicken, big old large tea, sweet tea, big box of chicken. And after she done bit that chicken and done drowned it in hot sauce, she was like, oh, let me take my high blood pressure medication. I was sitting there like, Lord, help your people, Jesus. Help them. Help your people. Yes, it'd be good. Look, I love my pork. I do. I love it. The bacon. I love the bacon, but I don't eat it as often. Like I said in my other video, I eat it in moderation. Because you get accustomed to eating certain things. But we know we got high blood pressure. We got to cut back on that stuff. We got to cut back. You know, spending time at the park or events. Take that time out, right? Take that time out to get to know you. Yeah, we can put people, Michelle, well, we can put people in the place of God. Excuse me, we really can. We can put our loved ones in the place of God. That's why it be so hard when they die, because we elevated them above God, right? We elevated them. Yes, let me get a number 9, okay? Let me get a 12-piece chicken bucket. I used to love my Popeyes, and I just like the ladies, drowning with the hot sauce. And it's okay every now and then, but you know, if you got ailments, you know you can't be eating that stuff. You know you can't be eating it all the time. Do it in moderation. You can't be doing it all the time. But you shouldn't be biting no chicken and taking no high blood pressure pill now. That's foolishness now. We got to do better. But yes, sometimes we can put these people in the place of God, right? We can worship and worship our family members. We can. Yep, we can become codependent. We become so dependent on them that when God take them, we feel like we don't have anybody. We feel like we don't have anybody. When God is our everything, right? God is our everything. I had to give my kids to God because they could leave me one day. They could die before me. Then what I'm going to do? That don't mean that I'm not going to grieve and be sad, because He said there will be a season for grieving. He said there'll be a season for grieving. And it hurts. I don't care how religious and spiritual you are. When death knocks at your door, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. So I get myself prepared. I'm like, what if I lose one of my kids one day? Not that I'm speaking it in existence, but it's the truth. We all gonna leave here. So I have to get my mind. I don't want to be so, I don't want to adore my kids so much that if God take them away for whatever reason, that I'm mad at God. I hate God. I don't believe in Him no more. No, I don't want to do that. No, I've already set up in my heart and in my mind that if my kids go, I just need to be okay with that. I need to go through that season and be okay with that. Hopefully they'll be able to do the same for me. I kind of remind them, if I leave here, don't die with me. You still got to live. Don't die with me. That's why I try to get them prepared for this world, because we can leave these kids. We're no better than anyone else. Look at how many people left their children during the pandemic. Left their kids here. What make us different? We can pray and ask God to keep us and sustain us. We can do that. I know we can do that. We can do that. He'll give us grace. But we're no different from anyone else. No different. Right? No different. None. So we can't put people in the place of God. We can't put them so high that, and I see this a lot, we can't put people so high that if God takes them or they leave us, yes, if they leave us, right, we're mad at God. We're mad at the world. We can't go on. We can't live. No, my grandmother used to always tell us, don't be hooping and hollering over my funeral, over my casket. Don't hoop and holler for me. She used to tell us that all the time. And I used to be so afraid as a young girl, because I love my grandmother so much. I'm like, Lord, please keep her here. as long as, until I become an adult, until I get grown. I was a little girl. I used to sleep in the bed with my grandma. I used to sleep in the bed with her because my grandfather used to sleep on the couch. And I used to sleep in the bed. And I'm like, Grandma, I'm like, Lord, please keep my grandmother here. And guess what? The Lord kept her here till I became an adult. I wasn't in my house. I wasn't in my apartment. I moved when I was 18. I think I was 19. Yeah, I was 19 years old because I just nope. When my grandmother died, not 19. 23. I was 23 when she died. 23. Her and my maternal and paternal grandmother died within 3 weeks apart. Right? It's like, well, she's on her own now. I just felt like she's on her own now. So we can go. We can go ahead and leave. Yep. She sure stayed here until I was on my own, established, and then she left this world. And I didn't hoop and holler either. I was sad, but I didn't hoop and holler because I know I gave her flowers while she was here. I did right by her while she was here. I loved on her while she was here. I did things that I could control because sometimes, we cry out of guilt and we be all guilty because we didn't have a good, the person left and we were not on good terms, and the person have that type of guilt. But I've learned, I look at death different. I've been looking at death different since I was 9 years old. I look at death different. I don't look at it as everyone else. I don't look at it as if it's the end of the world. I just look at it as if I hope this person's soul was right. I hope they had their relationship with God because we don't know where we're going, right? We don't know where we're going to end. We don't know where the person's going to end up. We don't know their heart and their relationship. So I don't put people where they shouldn't be. I don't know that. I don't be saying rest in heaven and all. No, I don't know all that. You can rest in peace, but I'm not going to put you in heaven because I don't know where you're going. I don't know I don't know, right? I don't know. I just don't know. But yeah, my grandmother stayed until I became an adult and I was on my own and I had to be able to, and I'm glad because that made me independent. I didn't have to depend on people. I had to learn how to live on my own. I had to learn how to manage without people, without her, be able to take care of myself. I had to learn how to do that, right? But she taught me so many skills that I carry to this day. My grandmother was a wise woman. She was wise and she only had a third grade education. Third grade education and was full of wisdom. Full of wisdom. The lady was so wise. I mean, the knowledge that I got from her, I'd never be able to, I won't be able to, she just was wise. She just was, that's why I know education, it helps. That's why I know, but it's not everything. It will give you an advantage because that's the reason I finished school. She was the reason I finished school because she wanted to, but she couldn't due to her time. She had to work in the fields and stuff. When she was younger, her mom, pulled her out of school. She wasn't able to get an education. Although she didn't know how to read, let me tell you what she did know how to do. She knew how to count that money. Look, she didn't know how to read, but she knew how to count them dollars. You hear me? You wasn't going to cheat her out of her money. I mean, she knew that math. I feel like an ant or something's on me. Spider web. Listen, you wasn't going to cheat her out of that money. She didn't know how to read, but she knew that math. Let me tell you what happened one time. We was in this store in the area where I live, and I was in front of her. She was behind me. I think I was in the 9th or 10th grade at this time. And we went to the we went to the cash register. We were getting ready to go. That's before they had debit cards and all that. That's when they still had the food stamps, the booklets, so it had to be a while ago. But anyway, she had some cash, and she went in the store, and the girl, gave her change back. And my grandmother was like, baby, you didn't give me my right change. And I mean, she calculated this so quick. I'm sitting there like trying to do my little math in my head. I'm trying to do my mental math. My grandmother had already calculated how much change she was supposed to get back. And then the girl was like, oh, I'm so sorry. She was like, my grandmother was like, you didn't give me my correct change, baby. She called everybody baby. She said, baby, you didn't give me my correct change. I mean, my grandmother count that money like this. Couldn't read, but she knew how to count them funds. I know that. But listen, we've been on here almost, an hour and a half. I said I'm gonna stop saying I'm not going to be long because every time I say that, I be on here long. So I hope the information that I share, I didn't want to come here and tear up, but I'm just appreciative. Yes, those are tears of joy. Appreciative of what I've been through in my upbringing, the struggles. Like, I would never be ashamed of that. I would never be ashamed, because it puts a fight in me. It put a fight in me that nobody can take away. The enemy can't take that away. It put a fight in me. And that's why I'm chosen. That's why you're chosen. There's a fight in you that no abuse can stop, that no lie could stop, right? That no manipulation could stop, that no deceit can stop. There is a fight in you that can't be quenched. That's why you keep going. That's why you don't give up. That's why after you keep going after one relationship, after, you don't give up. You don't let a bad relationship stop you. You don't let a bad marriage stop you. You don't let family talking about you and ostracizing you. You don't let that stop you, because you're chosen. You got that fight in you. There's a fight. There's a spiritual dog in you. Like a dog who's on a chain that they trying to get loose. You got that in you. That's within you. Or a spiritual lion. I'll say a lion. You got that roar. You can't be. You're not going to let life beat you. You're not going to let life beat you. And that's why God chose you. That's why you're chosen. You're not going to let family stop you. You're not going to let your children acting a fool stop you. You're not going to let getting fired stop you. You're not going to let that stop you. You're not going to let it. It's in you. Nobody can take that away. People try to take that away from you. They can't take it away. It's in you. You were born with that. You were built and made different. That's why people look at you. Yep, that's right, Larry. No devil in hell can take it away. That's why people look at you and wonder. They're in amazement. They're in awe, because you're still going. After all the lies, after all the foolishness people did to you, after them gossiping, after people, you're still going. You're still going, looking good, smelling good. That's why you have to forgive them. Forgive them and let it go. You don't have to be around to forgive them, because you don't want that unforgiveness to make you bitter. You don't want that unforgiveness to make you sick, because it will make you sick. Oh, it will make you sick. That unforgiveness will make you bitter and sick. We don't want that. So let it go. You're chosen. That's why you can't give up. That's why they can't kill you. That's why they can't kill your spirit. That's why the lies didn't stop you. You're chosen. Yes, you're chosen. So don't forget that. Don't forget that. That's why the hate is so great. That's why people hate you so much. They hate you because they couldn't kill you with their words. They couldn't kill you with the slander. They couldn't kill you with the lies. They couldn't kill you having people turn on you. Their slander didn't work. Them creating chaos in relationships didn't work. And you still going. You still can lift your head up. You still can walk forward. You still can move forward. And you know who gets credit for all of that? You got to give that to the Most High. Give that to the Most High God. Because he's doing that, them enemies. Let me tell you something about them enemies. Let me tell you something. They think they so wise. Look, they think they so wise. Even them coming against you, God is going to do it, using them to strengthen you. That's how you have to think. As a chosen one, you have to remember your enemies coming up against you. God allowed that. Them lies, God allowed that. That bad relationship, oh, he allowed it. Right? Them abusive family members, he allowed it. He allowed it because, like I said, you got that lion in you. You had it in you from a child. Only thing that's doing is strengthening you. You're going to need that for your next level. Pass the test. Pass the test. You're going to need it. Oh, he going to try you. The enemy going to try you. Them kids going to go to acting foolish. He going to try you. Pass the test. Pass the test. Them kids going to go to acting foolish. Pass the test. Oh, that best friend, your BFF, oh, they going to go to acting foolish. Pass the test. That spouse of yours, pass the test. That's all I want to tell you. Pass the test. I'll talk to y'all later. Be blessed.